Welcome back, focused learners. We've got a fantastic explainer for you today, and we're diving right into mastering a brand new set of vocabulary. You know, the 19th century clergyman Henry Ward Beecher had this amazing quote. He said, "All words are pegs to hang ideas on." I absolutely love that way of thinking about it, because without the right pegs, our biggest, most complex ideas, they just fall to the floor in a messy, confusing heap. So our goal today is super specific. We're focusing on lesson 39 from our source text, and we're going to build 12 brand new, sturdy pegs right in your mind.
And to really get us in the right headspace, check out this quote found right at the beginning of Lesson 39. Kill me with thy weapon, not with words. That's Shakespeare, from Henry VI, Part 3. What's so wild about this is how perfectly it captures the raw, dramatic power of a good vocabulary. Words aren't just, passive little letters sitting on a page. They're tools, they're weapons. They are quite literally the foundation of how we interact with the world around us.
To make this super easy to digest, we've broken today's vocabulary down into 4 logical chunks: actions and movements, people and society, characteristics and communications, and finally, putting words to the test.
All of today's material is pulled directly from Lesson 39 of the classic text 504 Absolutely Essential Words. We're going to extract the absolute core essence of these words and really dig into their sample sentences so you actually remember them.
All right, let's jump right into part 1, actions and movements. Our first 2 dynamic words are unearth. Again, that's unearth, and cancel. So, unearth literally means to dig something up out of the dirt. But it also carries this much cooler, figurative meaning of discovering or finding something out. Cancel, on the other hand, means to cross out, wipe out, or call something off entirely.
Okay, so what does this look like in the real world? The text gives us some great examples. For unearth, you could have scientists unearthing a buried city. That's your literal physical digging. But then the FBI might unearth a secret plot to defraud investors. That's the investigative side of the word. As for cancel, it can be super physical, like a postage stamp getting canceled so you can't reuse it. Or it can apply to an event, like Captain Melody's deciding to cancel all further interviews because, hey, he already found the right guy for the job.
Next up in our action bucket, we have depart, and coincide. Now, depart actually has a pretty wide range of meanings. It can mean to go away, to leave, to turn away from a usual habit, or even, as a gentle euphemism, to die. Coincide means to occupy the exact same place in space or time, or to correspond completely. Let's ground these in some practice. You might depart from a village first thing in the morning, meaning you're physically leaving. Or, as the book points out, a woman might be reluctant to mention that her uncle had departed, using it as a softer way to say he had passed away. With coincide, imagine a physical overlap, like 2 identical triangles that coincide perfectly when you stack them on top of each other. Or it could be a scheduling thing, like Jim and Pete's working hours coinciding, meaning they're both on the clock at the exact same time.
Moving right along to part 2, people and society. The words we're focusing on here are debtor, and clergy. A debtor is simply anyone who owes something to another person or institution. And the clergy? That refers to a group of people officially prepared and ordained for religious work. To really lock these in, let's look at the text examples. Think about this. If you borrow just $1 single from a friend, well, congratulations, you're technically a debtor. Historically, as the book notes, there were these totally gloomy debtors' prisons for folks who couldn't repay their loans. Thankfully, we've moved past that. As for the clergy, think of the legendary Friar Tuck from the Robin Hood stories. He was a famously jolly member of the clergy. The text also gives a great example of a community trying their best not to hinder the local clergy as they go about their religious tasks. Let's slide into part 3, characteristics and communications. The first word in this category is legible. It's pretty straightforward. It just means able to be read, easy to read, or plainly clear to the eye.
And this right here perfectly illustrates one of the coolest features of our source text, the Spotlight On section. It contrasts the literal use of a word against its figurative use. So literally you might say, Julia's handwriting is beautiful and highly legible. It's easy to read, but you can also use it in a really imaginative, figurative sense. The famous author Thomas Wolfe once wrote that murder sweltered in his heart and was legible upon his face. I mean, wow, right? You aren't literally reading printed words on the guy's face, but the emotion is so plain and clear, you can read it like a book.
All right, let's knock out 3 more descriptive words really quickly. Placard, contagious, and customary. A placard is just a notice or a sign posted up in a public space. Contagious means easily spreading from one person to another. And customary? That just means usual, or doing something according to a habit or custom.
Look at how these function out in the wild. Colorful placards might be plastered all over a city, urgently calling for volunteers. For contagious, our brains usually jump straight to diseases, like saying scarlet fever is highly contagious. But the text smartly reminds us that something as simple and harmless as a yawn is also incredibly contagious. Finally, customary gives us a neat glimpse into history. For instance, it was customary for ancient Romans to recline on couches while they were eating dinner.
Rounding out our vocabulary list today are two really vivid words pulled straight from the lesson's final exercises. We have transparent, which means easily seen through, and scald, which means to pour boiling water over something or to burn yourself with a hot liquid.
And speaking of those exercises from the text, if you really want these words to stick, just listening passively isn't going to cut it. We've got to actively engage the brain.
Which brings us to our final section, putting words to the test.
I want you to shift gears right now from being a passive listener to an active participant. Let's see if you can instantly recall the definitions we just built. First up, a quick snippet from the matching exercise. When you see contagious, your brain should immediately lock on to easily spread. When you hear scald, boom, you connect it to pour boiling water over. And clergy maps directly to persons prepared for religious work. Simple, direct, and incredibly effective for memory building.
Okay, time for a slightly tougher challenge. I'm going to give you a fill-in-the-blank sentence straight from the book. Which of our 12 words fits perfectly in here? After several hours, Raoul abandoned his search to blank for home.
If you guessed depart, you absolutely nailed it. He abandoned the search to depart or leave for home. This kind of contextual learning is exactly how you permanently install these words into your daily vocabulary. Let's do one final question to totally solidify your mastery of Lesson 39 today. The police department blank all leaves until the dangerous lunatic was captured. Which of our action words means to call off a scheduled event, like a leave of absence?
The answer is canceled. The police department canceled all leaves. You guys have done a truly fantastic job navigating these essential words today. We've unearthed definitions, departed from ignorance, and hopefully made these concepts entirely legible for you. Remember our opening thought from Henry Ward Beecher? Words are simply pegs. Now that you've built these 12 brand new pegs in your mind, the only question left is, what brilliant ideas will you hang on them today? Keep learning, and I'll see you in the next explainer.